AP courses.
All right.
Have the same science labs. Have the same quality of extracurricular activities, whether they are in the suburbs or in a high-income neighborhood, or whether they're in the inner city, or whether they're in rural South Carolina. And we must insist that no school's physical plan looks like, smells like, in any way, a prison cell. We must insist that whatever it takes, that this will be done. And number 3, we must, in our own communities, insist that high school graduation and college matriculation and completion is the goal.
All right.
Is the goal and is the objective. College today means 4-year college. Sometimes it means 2-year college. Sometimes it may mean technical college. Ladies and gentlemen, the jobs of the future are going to require technical college, community college, 4-year degrees, graduate degrees. We have to set the expectation. Young people ask me all the time, what's the difference if I go to college? And I go right in my pocket. And I pull out the biggest bill I got.
Watch yourself.
There you go.
Sometimes it's a 5. Sometimes it's a 10. Sometimes it's a 20. Sometimes it's a 50. And every once in a while it's a Benjamin. And I say to them, understand this fact. If and when you finish high school versus dropping out or not completing, you have already automatically ensured that over your life, you'll make twice as much money as your friend or buddy or partner who didn't do it.
Right.
Right then and there, at that moment. Secondly, if you take the next step and you go to a 4-year college or university and you complete that 4-year engagement, you have ensured that you're going to make 4 times as much money over the course of your life than your friend, your partner, your buddy, who's still back there stuck because they didn't want to go to school in 10th grade. And when you get right down to it, we cannot be afraid to speak to our young people in economic terms.
That's right. That's right.
Because they understand economics.
Right.
All right.
They wouldn't be walking around with phones if they didn't understand economics. I just bought a new pair of shoes for my 15-year-old, and I had to impress on him the understanding of economics, because his shoes cost more than mine. But look, we have got to insist that high school graduation, college matriculation, and completion is our goal in a just deal for black men and boys of color. Finally, we have to dismantle and we have to destroy and rebuild this broken 21st century apartheid system called the criminal justice system. It is so broken. It is so broken, and I invite anyone who believes that it isn't to spend a little time in any courtroom in America or follow the journey. We have to fix this idea that a great nation like the United States, with the biggest and most powerful economy ever known to humankind, should not also be the nation with the highest rates of incarceration in the world. We cannot be a nation if we are going to continue to be the economic power that we want to be and that we need to be, if we leave any human being behind. If we leave them behind because on one hand, we don't provide educational pathways to success. or we leave them behind because they've gotten tied up in the criminal justice system and therefore have a death or a life sentence. Let me tell you how crazy and how unfair the criminal justice system is. These problems come across my desk from time to time, not in a report, not in statistics, because somebody has reached out to the Urban League for assistance. So let's take a 18 or 19-year-old who, for some reason, gets caught with marijuana. And that 18 or 19-year-old, let's say for some reason, didn't have access to a good lawyer, didn't have sufficient money to make a bond, and they're in jail, and they await decisions on prosecution in a crime for 8 months. And then their case comes up in month 8, and the prosecutor and the court-appointed defense lawyer say, well, here's what you can do. Why don't you just plead guilty to one count and you can leave jail tomorrow because you've already served 8 months. I'll give you credit for time served. And the young man's gonna say, get me out of here. Right. And take the deal. Right. Then what they have, and this is if, let's say it was more than a year, forever. Then they've got a felony conviction on their record. Forever. You know what that means? No more Pell Grant. You know what it means? Every time they go for a job and they run their criminal history, they've got this conviction on their record. You know what else it means? In many places in the country, they go to rent an apartment. Right. They run the criminal history. They find out the person has had one conviction on their record when they were 21 years old, and they cannot rent an apartment. So what was weekend fun and a mistake of being stopped and therefore being arrested, because the system is so broken, that young person ends up not with an 8-month sentence, but with a lifetime
That's exactly
mark
right.
on their chest.
That's exactly right.
That affects them throughout. We have got to fix that problem, because it's not fair for the young man, but it's not fair for America. And that happens time and time again, because one, high bonds are set that people can't make. Number two, there's no access to quality lawyers, and public defenders are overworked. Number three, it takes too long for many prosecutorial offices to make decisions, and you've got this vicious cycle that takes place. We have got to fix the criminal justice system, and we had momentum to do it at the national level in the final months of President Obama's administration. I don't think the current Attorney General is really in line with that kind of thinking. But here's what I'll tell you. I'll tell you that means that the action shifts. It shifts to the state houses. Mm-hmm. It shifts to city halls where municipal criminal ordinances can be reformed. It shifts to the local level where your state legislators, your county commissioners, your city council members can make a difference on this issue. No despair, because yes, we need the leadership at the national level, but most criminal justice systems are run and managed by states and counties and municipalities in America, and that indeed is how it is. So we need a just deal for young black men and boys of color in America. And to get to that just deal, ladies and gentlemen, we must bust the myth. So I want to know, can I count on you to bust the myth? Can I count on you? Can I count on you to bury the stereotypes? Can I count on you to confront fiction with fact every day? And can we set high expectations for our young people? But can we also align ourselves as those that are going to knock down any unfair barrier that stands between them and success? This conference This meeting and today is about walking and not just talking. This conference and meeting today is about facting, not just acting. This conference and meeting today is about making a difference in the lives of our precious, our beautiful, our talented young people. These young boys, these soon-to-be men, they're our progeny, they're our future. Ladies and gentlemen, they are us. God bless you. Thank you. Have a great night.